Going back to a question that I had asked Kevin about mistakes you've made as the workforce dynamics have been challenging or changing, and describe some of the learnings we can all learn from.
We don't have enough time. I think that oftentimes, for me, I really like to give people the benefit of the doubt. But there are certain things that you recognize that, and these are the important jobs, that they're just not demonstrating that. But you're saying, did you give them enough time? And on the paradigm, as we learn things, we're very directive when we're teaching someone new, and then we coach them, and then we facilitate, and then ultimately you delegate. And at some point along the line, when you're disconnecting along what their normal development path is, you got to ask the question, are they right for this position? And do you think you're going counterculture? Because one of our values in our culture is recognize the potential in every person. And you challenge yourself, have you recognized their potential? Have you done what you need to do? And I think if I'm guilty of one thing, is I stick with it a little too long. Mm-hmm. And instead of letting the next person up, take on that responsibility and see what they can do. And it always seems to be that way, that when someone, and it's good for them, they move on, someone comes into their place, and all of a sudden you say to yourself after 2 months, gosh, I wish we did that sooner.
Yeah.
And that's, as a CEO, one of the things that I'm trying to get better at, but I've got a ways to go.
A lot of CEOs are challenged by that. Yeah. Kimberly?
Yeah, I would echo that, and I always look at it, you're either teaching, you're tolerating, or you're terminating. And I think we spend a lot of time in that tolerating, because you want to see, and there's kind of that glimmer of, no, I think it's working this time, right? And so I probably spend too much time in the tolerating. On the other piece, there's the leadership model of what we call the triangle. So under a period of stress, you're either the persecutor, the victim, or the caretaker. And I'm the caretaker. And so I think that, and what that means is I'll help us through it. And I need to do a better job, and I think that it's much more effective when I step back and just say, you need to take care of this, right? I don't need to solve your issue for you. I don't need to step in. And I need to really pay attention that I take myself out of it. So it's my own coaching, my own learning that I need to really pay attention to.
Excellent. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, we're really deliberate about it, actually. I'd certainly fall into the same realm that tolerate is probably I spend too much time in that zone, especially if someone's working hard. It's hard not to, right? You care about people. But we're very deliberate at it. We do what's called key objectives and expectations. And we meet with your supervisor once a trimester, and you will have, there are items that are relative to the business, but there are also items relative to your own development. And then also once a year we meet and go do a career review with every one of our employees. So we make them, the employees, really sit down and talk frank about themselves. The other thing is we make them self-review. And part of the reason for self-reviewing is it's interesting when you have someone actually self-review themselves, and they suddenly walk into your office and then 5 being good, 1 being bad, they rate themselves all 5, you got a challenge. So what helps is it starts breaking down that perspective in terms of who they are as a person and where they're at in their career development, and that helps give people real solid sense so there's less ambiguity about where they are in their career path and where they are in terms of performance. And it really opens the dialogue up, especially once they start admitting that, I'm kind of quirky that way. And we also do a lot of it. Everyone at our office has, especially at supervisor above, has bricks on their desk. I don't know how many have done this. It's your personality test. So when you walk into your boss too, you know who you're talking to based on the brick profile. You'll know how they're going to respond. So we really are deliberate about that, because to the point being, if they understand their self-worth, they understand where they are within the organization and what their potentials are, then you're going to get better longevity out of your employees.
So if there's a brick that says I have an explosive personality, does my supervisor know walking in that's what they're going to be facing?
Yeah, so if you see red, get straight to the point.
Oh my God.
I'm a yellow, then red. So I tolerate for a bit, then I get straight to the point.
I suspect there's a lot of reds in the room.